Hi chat, welcome back. We back again with another video. Today we doing a reading video. The book is called Scar. 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 Just don't do it, bro. Just watch watch the live, alright? Just watch the live with me. I'm not gonna join a Discord. I'm gonna keep it classy. I'm gonna keep it educational. Alright, buddy? So the book is called, as you can see, the book is called The King in Yellow. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, all right? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't even know what book this is. I just looked. I looked it up. Free book to read, and I found this book right here. And shout out to archive.org. Actually, yep, they got free books on there. Shout out to them. If you guys wanna read free books, if you guys wanna read free, if you guys wanna read free books online, look that website up. I'm not a reader, but today I've decided to become a better human, a better person, and a better reader. Try to get my mindset up. So, yeah, 6 a.m. in the morning. It's my new schedule to wake up. So, hey guys, roll with me in this 10 page. As a matter of fact, yep, I'm only going to read 10 pages of this book. All right. So, once again, the book is called The King in Yellow, by Robert W. Chambers. All right, by Robert W. Chambers. And before we start the video, please, guys, no, before we start the live, please subscribe. All right. Now let's get to reading. Once again, I'm not a reader. Oh shit. Oh wait, yeah. Oh, I man. All right. The King in Yellow. Let me zoom in real quick. Maybe I could zoom in a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah, right there. Yeah, right there. The King in Yellow by Robert W. Chambers, author of Cardigan, The Conspirator, Lauren, etc. Alright. Illustrated. We got some illustration right here, which is pretty cool. I think that's a Miro. That is not. That is not. I don't know what it is. New York and London, Harper and Brothers, publisher, 1902. That's when this book was published. I think. I think that's what that means, right? Anyway, I'm hoping the book to be interesting to my brother. To my brother. What that mean? Context. We're not even man. Okay. The Repair of Reputations, Chapter 1. Huh. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm actually confused. I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. Okay, I'm gonna just start reading with the side. Okay. Along the shore, the cloud waves break. The twin suns sink behind the lake. The shadows lengthen in Caucasa. Strange is the night where block stars rise and strange what? And strange moons circle through the skies, but stronger skill is lost. Caucasa. Interesting. Is this a song, nigga? Oh, song of my soul, my voice is dead. Die though unsung as tears unfinished. Oh, as tears unshed shall dry and die in lost Carcosa by Casilda, song in The King in Yellow, Act Scene 2. Anyway, I don't know if I was supposed to read that, but alright. The Repair of Reputations. Towards the end of the year 1920, the government of the United States had practically completed the program adopted during the last months of the President Winthrop's administration. The, the country was apparently tranquil. Everybody knows how the tariff and labor questions were settled. The war with Germany incident on that country's seizure of the Salmon Island had left no visible scars upon the Republic, and the temporary occupation of no of 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 the what? Nigga, I can't fucking see. Occupation of North Republic of Norfolk by invading army had been forgotten in the joy of repeated naval victories and the subsequent ridiculous ridiculous plight of General von Gartilombe, right, nigga? Forces in the state of New Jersey. The Cuban and Hawaiian investment had paid 100%, and the territory of Samoa was well worth its cost as coaling station. The country was in such superb state of defense. Every coast city had been well supplied with land for fortifications. The army, under the parental eye of General Staff, organized according to the Prussian system, had been increased to 300,000 men with territorial reserve of 1,000,006 magnificent squadrons of cruisers and battleships patrolled the 6 stations of the navigable seas, leaving a steam reserve amply fitted to control home waters. The gentlemen from the West had at least been constrained to acknowledge that a college for nigga, I'm sweating like a bitch. Sorry, excuse my language, but damn, shit, all this reading, bro. The gen the general the gentlemen from the West had at least been constrained to acknowledge that a college for the training of diplomats was as necessary as law schools are for the training of barristers. Consequently, we were no longer represented abroad by incompetent patriots. The nation was prosperous. Chicago, for a moment paralyzed after a second great fire, had risen from its ruins, white and imperial, and more beautiful than the white city which had been built for its paving in 1893. Everywhere, good architecture was replacing bad, and even in New York, as the sudden craving for decency had swept away a great portion of the existing horrors. Streets had been whitened, properly paved, and lighted. Trees had been planted, squares laid out, elevated structures demolished, and underground roads built to replace them. The new government buildings and barracks were fine bits of architecture, and long system of the stone quays which completely surrounded the island had been turned into parks, which proved as God sent to the population the subsidizing of the state theater and state opera brought its own reward. The United States National Academy of Design was like European institution of the same kind. Nobody envied the Secretary of Fine Arts, either his cabinet position or his portfolio. The Secretary of Forestry and Game Preservation had a much easier time thanks to the new system of national mounted police. We had profited well, but the latest treaties with France and England, the exclusion of foreign-born as a measure of national self-preservation, the settlement of new independence, What? Self-preservation, the settlement of the new independent Negro state settlement, the settlement of the new independent Negro state of Suwane, the checking of immigration, the new laws concerning neutralization, and the gradual centralization of power in the executive all contributed to national calm and prosperity. When the new government solved the Indian problem and squadrons of Indian cavalry scouts in native costume were substitute for the pitiable organizations tacked onto the tail of skeletonized regiments, regiments, regiments by a former Secretary of War, the nation drew a long sigh of relief when, a long sigh, is that a sigh or C? Can y'all even see that shit? When after the colossal of Congress of religions, bigotry, and intolerance were laid in their graves, and kindness and charity began to draw warring sects of together. No, many thought the millennium had arrived, at least in the New World, which, after all, is a word by itself. But self-preservation is the first law, and the United States had to look on its. This nigga just said some bullshit. I'm finna call this nigga. Fuck out of here, nigga. Fuck out of here, nigga. Fuck out of here, nigga. Call Ja. Call Ja. Call Ja. You a hoe, nigga. You ain't watch the full shit, nigga. I pronounce everything right, nigga.
Yeah, buddy. I joined. I heard.
You joined at the wrong time, my nigga.
Oh, okay.
My IQ be go. I went to the doctor, bro. My IQ went up.
Well, what is it? 12?
No, hell no. 90, nigga. Huh?
So what?
90? That's bad, nigga.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's between 90 and 100, though.
Nah. Real shit up. They said 110.
All right.
Real talk.
Okay.
I'm cap, nigga. You know I'm lying, nigga.
I'm bad. Nigga, what you reading, nigga?
I don't know.
Nigga, why are you up readings?
Trying to be a better person, bro.
Alright.
I done lost. I lost where I was at, bro.
Okay. Why you don't decide to read the Bible on there, then?
Huh? I could read it. You hear me?
What you said?
I could read it.
Yeah, read that motherfucker on there.
No, I said I could read it. I can.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay. You can read it, yes.
Okay.
Why you don't? Alright, bro. Alright, bro. Love, bro.
Where you going?
It's too late for this shit, bro.
You going to sleep, nigga?
Hell yeah.
You ain't going to sleep, boy. Cat.
It's 6:25 in the morning.
Oh, you been up?
Hell yeah.
I probably finish this book by what, 6:50, 7 o'clock? And I'll probably go live again. I do a little gaming.
Your ass was out of the house.
You hear me?
Yeah, I heard you, bro.
I bet good night, Nick.
Love, bro. Good night, bro.
I love Nick. I call him Nick. But self-preservation as the first law, and the United States had to look on its helpless sorrow as Germany, Italy, Spain, and Belgium writhed in the throes of anarchy, while Russia, watching from the Caucasus, stopped and bombed them one by one. In the city of New York, the summer of 1910 was signalized by the dismantling of the elevated railroads. The summer of 1911 will live in the memories of New York people for many a cycle. The Dodge statue was removed in that year. In the following winter began the agitation for the repeal of the laws prohibiting suicide, which bore its final fruit in the month of April 1920, when the first government lethal chambers was opened on Washington Square. I had walked down that day from Dr. Archer's house on Medicine Avenue, where I had been as mayor for Melody ever since that fell from my horse. 4 years before, I had been troubled at times with panics or pains in the back of my head and neck, but not for months. They had been absent, and the doctor sent me away that day, saying there was nothing more to be cured in me. It was hardly worth his fee to be told that. I knew it myself. Still, I did not grudge him the money. Still, I did not grudge him the money. What I minded was the mistake which he made at first. When they picked me up from the pavement where I lay unconscious, soul and body had mercifully sent a bullet through my horse head. I was carried to Dr. Archer, and he, pronouncing my brain affected, placed me in his private asylum, where I was obligated to endure treatment for insanity. At last, he decided that I was well, and I, knowing that my mind had always been sound as his. What the fuck is this nigga talking about right now, bro? At last, he decided that I was well, and I, knowing that my mind had always been as sound as his, if not sounder, paid. What the fuck? If not sounder, paid my tuition, as he was jokingly called it, and left. I told him, smiling, that I would get even with him for his mistake, and he laughed heartily and asked me to call once in a while. I did so, hoping for a chance to even up accounts, but he gave me none, and I told him I would wait. The fall from my horse had fortunately left no evil results. On the contrary, it had been it had changed my whole character for the better. From a lazy young man about town, I had become active, energetic, temperate, and above all else, ambitious. What does ambitious mean? Someone who possesses a strong, active desire for success, success, achievement, or power. So I think I should be ambitious, right? I should be ambitious. All right. Anyway, is that getting interesting? I don't know. Ambitious. There was only one thing which troubled me. I laughed at my own uneasiness, and yet it troubled me. During my convalescence, I had bought and read for the first time The King in Yellow. Wait, you read your own book? During my convalescence, I had bought and read for the first time The King in Yellow. I remember after finishing the first act, it occurred to me that I had better stop. I started up and flung to the I started up and flung the book into the fireplace. The volume struck the barrel grate and fell open on the hearth in the firelight. If I had not caught the glimpse of the opening words in the second act, I should have never finished it. But as I stopped to pick it up, my eyes became riveted to the open page, and with a cry of terror, or perhaps it was of joy, so poignant that I suffered in every nerve. I snatched the thing from the hearth and crept shaking to my bedroom, where I read it and reread it, and wept and laughed and trembled with the horror which at times assails my yet. This is a thing that troubles me, for I cannot forget Carcosa. What the hell is Carcosa, bro? Like, what is that? Where black stars hang in the heavens. Oh, I guess that's Carcosa. Where black stars hang in the heavens, where the shadows of men thought lengthened in the afternoon, when the twin suns sank into the lake of Heli, and my mind will bear forever the memory of the pillared mask. I pray God will cure the writer, as the writer has cursed the world with this beautiful, stupendous, stupendous, stupendous creation, and terrible in its simplicity, irresistible, irresistible in its truth. A word, a a a word, a, a word with a word which now trembles before the king in yellow. When the French government seized the translated copies which had just arrived in Paris, London, of course, became became eager to read it. It was well known. It was well known how the book spread like an infectious disease from city to city, from continent to continent, from continent to continent, and buried out here, confiscated there, denounced by press and pulpit, censored, censured, even by the most advanced of literacy anarchists. No definite principles had been violated in those wicked pages. No doctrine promulgated. No convictions of outrage. It could not be judged by any known standard. Yet, although it was acknowledged that the supreme note of art had been struck in the King of Yellow, all that all felt that human nature could not bear the strain nor thrive on words in which the answers of purest poison lurked. The very banality and innocence of the first act only allowed the blow to fall afterwards with more awful effect. It was, I remember, the 13th of April 1920 that the first government lethal chamber was established on the south side of Washington Square. I still don't know what the hell going on in this book. The block of which had formerly consisted of a lot of shabby old buildings used as cafes and restaurants for foreigners had been acquired by the government in the writer of 1913. The French and Italian cafes and restaurants were torn down. The whole block was enclosed by gilded iron railing and converted into a what? Lovely garden with lawns, flowers, and fountains. And in the center of Gordon, oh, we got 3 more pages. In the center of garden stood a small white building and severely classical in architecture, and surrounded by thickets of flowers. Six ionic columns supported the roof, and the single door was of bronze. A splendid marble of the fates stood before the door. Jesus, stood before the door. The work of a young American sculptor, Boris Vian, who had died in Paris when only 23 years old. The interrogation ceremonies were in progress as I crossed the University Place and entered the square. I threaded my way through the silent throng of spectators, but was stopped at 4th Street by a cordon of police. A regiment of United States lancers were drawn up in the hollow square around the lethal chambers on a raised tribune facing Washington Park. Stood the governor of New York, and behind him were grouped of mayor of Greater New York, the inspector general of police, the commandant of the state's troops, Colonel Livingston, which is military aide to the President of the United States, General Blount, commanding of Governor's Island, Major General Hamilton, commanding the garrison of Greater New York, Admiral Buffby of the fleet. Shit. Of the fleet in the North River, Surgeon General Lansford, the staff of the National Free Hospital, Senators Wise and Franklin of New York, and the Commissioner of Public Works. The Tribune was surrounded by a squadron of officers of the National Guard. The governor was finishing his reply to the short speech of the Surgeon General. I heard him say, "The laws prohibiting suicide and providing punishment for any attempt at the self-destruction have been repealed. The government has seen fit to acknowledge the right of a man to end an existence which may have become intolerable to him through physical suffering or mental despair. It is believed that the community will be benefited by the removal of such people from their midst. Since the passage of this law, the number of suicide in the United States has not increased. Now that the government has determined to establish a lethal chamber in every city, town, and village in the country, it remains to be seen whether or not that the class of human creatures from whose desponding ranks new victims of self-destructive fail daily will accept the relief thus provided." He paused and turned to the white lethal chamber. The silence in the street was absolute. He paused and turned to the white lethal chamber. The silence in the streets was absolute. "There a peerless death awaits him who can no longer bear the sorrows of this life. If death is welcome, let him seek it there." Man. Then quickly turning to the military aide of the president household, he said, "I declare lethal chamber open." And again, facing the vast crowd, he cried in a clear voice, "Citizens of New York and of the United States of America, through me, the government declares lethal chamber to be open." The soulman hush was broken by a sharp cry of command. The squadron of horses fired after the governor's carriage. The lancers wheeled and formed along Fifth Avenue to wait for the commandment of the garrison, and the mounted police followed them. I left the crowd to gape and stare at the white marble death chamber, and crossing South Avenue, walked along in the western side of the thoroughfare to Block Street. Then I turned into the right and stopped before a dingy shop which bore the sign. I glanced in at the doorway and saw Herbert busy in his little shop at the end of the hall. He looked up, and catching sight of me, cried in his deep, hearty voice, "Come in, Mr. Constance." His daughter rose to meet me as I crossed the. This is our last page right here. Shit. To meet me as I crossed threshold, and held out her pretty hand, but I saw the blush of disappointment on her cheeks, and knew that it was another Christine she had expected. My cousin Louise, I smiled at her confusion and complimented her on the banner which she was em- embroidering from a collared plate. Old Harburg sat reventing the one grievousness of some ancient suit of armor, and the ting 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 of his little hammer sounded pleasantly in the quaint shop. I can't see shit. Presently, presently he dropped his hammer and fussed about for a moment with a tiny wrench. The soft clash of the mail sent a thrill of the pleasure through me. I loved to hear the music of steel brushing against steel, the mellow shock of the mallet on the thigh pieces. Yo, watch out for chapter 7. What's going on? What's going on in chapter 7? Huh? Oh, I don't know, bro. I just started the book. Oh, what happened so far? Uh, I guess this guy was at the, I don't know. He was at the police something. I'm just reading, gang. I ain't put that shit in my mind for real. What the fuck, bro? Come on, bro. Anyway, let me finish it off, bro. Let me finish it off. What was I? Thigh pieces and the jingle of chain armor. That was the only reason I went to the Harburg. He had never he had never interested me personally, nor did Constance, and nor did Constance, except for the fact of her being in love with Louise. This did occupy me. This did occupy my attention, and sometimes even kept me awake at night. But I knew in my heart that all would come right. That I should arrange their future as I expected to arrange that of my conductor, John Archer. Is it Archer or Archer? I think it's Archer. However, I should never have troubled myself about visiting them. Just just then it not been, as I say, that the music of Tinkling Hammer had for me this strong fascination. What the fuck are you doing, nigga? Scared the shit out of me, boy. I thought it was a ghost.
Maybe want you to take her to the Awful House.
Bro, come on, bro. Bro, wait, bro. Wait, close the door, bro. What the fuck? I thought the door was open up to the safe game. I would sit for hours listening and listening, and when a straight sunbeam struck the inlaid steel, the sensation it gave me was almost too. It gave me was almost too keen to endure. My eyes would become fixed, dilating with the pleasure that stretched every nerve, almost to break, almost breaking until some movement of the old armorer cut off the ray of sunlight. Then, still thrilling secretly, I leaned back and listened against to the sound of the publishing rage swish swish rubbing rust from the rivets. Constance worked with embroidery over her. Yeah, I'm not gonna read that part. Anyway, man, you released him from the basement. Yeah, bro. But he scared me, again. What the fuck? I thought the door was opening. That's my little brother, bro. Anyway, chat. Shout out to whoever tuned in today's live stream, man. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Shout out my boy Leave It. Shout out Scar. Shout out everybody who watched this live stream. as I will be gone for now. So, what I always say, magic.